I thought I was dreaming when I heard my wife's voice in the hallway at 2 o'clock in the morning. Soft, almost a whisper, but urgent. I kept my eyes closed, my breathing steady and deep the way it had been for weeks now since the cancer diagnosis. The pain medication made me drowsy most of the time anyway, so pretending to be asleep was easy. Then I heard her say it. "He'll be dead in 6 months. The doctor said maybe less. Then we get everything. The house, the pension, the life insurance, all of it. $3.5 million. I lay there in the darkness of our bedroom, perfectly still, and felt my blood turn to ice, not from fear, from rage, cold, focused, detective rage. Because I recognized that voice on the other end of the phone. It was my business partner, my best friend for 30 years, Michael, and my wife of 35 years, Jennifer, was planning my murder. My name is Detective Thomas Parker, retired, 68 years old, terminal pancreatic cancer, stage 4, 6 months to live, they said. Maybe less. But I wasn't dead yet, and I just realized that the two people I trusted most in the world were waiting for me to die so they could steal everything I had built over a lifetime. I'm glad you're here watching this. If this story resonates with you, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I want to know how far the truth can travel, because what I'm about to tell you is about betrayal at the deepest level. About two people who thought they could fool a man who spent 45 years investigating crimes. They thought wrong. Let me take you back 3 months before that phone call. I was in my study going through old case files, something I did to keep my mind sharp in retirement. My back had been hurting for weeks. Not the usual old man aches. This was different, sharp, persistent. A pain that woke me up at night and wouldn't let me sleep. Jennifer kept telling me to see a doctor. "You're 68 years old, Tom. You can't ignore pain like this anymore." She seemed so concerned, so loving. Looking back now, I wonder if she was already planning it, if she already knew what that pain meant. I finally went to see Dr. Harrison, my physician for 20 years. He ran tests, blood work, CT scan, MRI. When he called me back to his office a week later, I knew it was bad. His face told me everything before he even opened his mouth. "Tom," he said, sitting across from me with my file open on his desk, "I'm afraid it's cancer. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. The words hit me like a bullet to the chest. I had been a homicide detective for 45 years. I had seen death in every form imaginable. I had investigated murders, suicides, accidents. I had held dying victims in my arms. I had knocked on doors at midnight to tell families their loved ones were never coming home. But nothing prepares you for hearing those words about yourself." "How long?" I asked. My voice was steady, calm, the way it had always been in crisis situations. Dr. Harrison looked down at his hands. 6 months, maybe less. The cancer's advanced. It's spread to your liver, your lymph nodes. We can try chemotherapy, but honestly, at this stage, it's more about managing pain than curing the disease. I sat there for a long moment, processing. 68 years old, 45 years on the force, retired for 3 years. And now this. "What about surgery?" I asked. Harrison shook his head. "It's not operable. The tumor is wrapped around major blood vessels. Surgery would likely kill you faster than the cancer." "I'm sorry, Tom. I wish I had better news." I drove home in a daze. It was a beautiful day in Phoenix, Arizona. Clear blue sky, 75 degrees, palm trees swaying in the breeze, people going about their lives, completely unaware that mine had just been given an expiration date. When I got home, Jennifer was in the kitchen making lunch. She looked up when I walked in, and something in my face must have told her. "Tom?" she said, her voice rising. "What did the doctor say?" I told her. I watched her face crumple, watched tears fill her eyes, watched her come to me and wrap her arms around me, holding me tight while she sobbed into my chest. "We'll fight this," she said. "We'll get second opinions. We'll try everything, whatever it takes." I held her, feeling her body shake with sobs, and I believed her. I believed that we were in this together, that my wife of 35 years, the woman I had built a life with, would be by my side until the end. I was a fool. Over the next few weeks, things seemed normal. Jennifer was attentive, caring. She went with me to oncology appointments. She researched treatment options. She made sure I took my pain medication on schedule. She cooked my favorite meals. She held my hand when the pain got bad. And all the while, she was planning. I didn't know it then. I didn't see the signs. But looking back, I can see them all now. The phone calls she would take in another room, the way she started going out more often, claiming she needed time with friends to process her grief. The way Michael, my business partner and best friend, started coming around more often. Checking on me, he said, making sure I was okay, making sure Jennifer was holding up. Michael Chen and I had been partners in a private security consulting firm for 15 years, ever since we both retired from the Phoenix Police Department. We had built the business from nothing into a successful operation that generated healthy six-figure incomes for both of us. We had been beat cops together in the 1980s. We had made detective together. We had solved cases together. We had been at each other's weddings. We had watched each other's kids grow up. And now, he was sleeping with my wife and waiting for me to die. I didn't know that yet. Not for sure. But I was starting to suspect. There were small things. The way Jennifer's mood would lift after a phone call. The way she seemed distracted, distant. The way she would check her phone constantly, then quickly put it away when I looked at her. The way Michael would look at her when he thought I wasn't watching. I had been a detective for 45 years. I knew the signs of an affair. But I didn't want to believe it. Not Jennifer. Not after 35 years of marriage. Not when I was dying. Surely she wouldn't betray me now. But she did. And it was so much worse than just an affair. The chemotherapy started in week 5 after my diagnosis. I had decided to try it, even though Dr. Harrison had said it was mostly palliative. Maybe it would buy me a few extra months. Maybe I would beat the odds. The treatment was brutal. 3-hour infusions every 2 weeks. The poison they pumped into my veins to kill the cancer killed everything else too. My appetite vanished. Food tasted like metal. I lost 20 pounds in a month. My hair fell out. I was exhausted all the time, weak, barely able to get out of bed some days. And through it all, Jennifer was there. Devoted, attentive, loving. She drove me to appointments. She sat with me during infusions. She helped me to the bathroom when I was too weak to walk on my own. She was the perfect wife, and I started to feel guilty for suspecting her. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the affair was just in my imagination, a product of the pain medication and the fear of death. Maybe she really did love me. Maybe I was being paranoid. Then came the phone call I overheard. It was a Tuesday night. I'd taken my pain medication around 9 o'clock. Strong stuff. Oxycodone. It made me drowsy and gave me strange, vivid dreams. I fell asleep in our bed around 10. Jennifer was downstairs watching television. I drifted off to the sound of the TV murmuring through the floor. Sometime around 2 in the morning, I woke up, or half woke up. That strange state where you're aware but not quite conscious. The medication made everything feel distant and dreamlike. I heard Jennifer's voice in the hallway just outside our bedroom door. She was on the phone, speaking quietly, but I could hear every word in the silence of the night. "He'll be dead in 6 months," she said. "The doctor said maybe less. The chemo is just making him weaker. He can barely get out of bed now." I lay there perfectly still, my eyes closed, my breathing deep and steady. Every instinct I had developed over 45 years as a detective suddenly kicked in. Don't move, don't react. Gather information. "Then we get everything," Jennifer continued. "The house is worth $1.2 million. His pension pays out $200,000. And the life insurance." She paused. $3 million. Michael, he had no idea I increased it 2 years ago. He still thinks it's just the original $500,000 from when we got married. I felt my heart hammering in my chest, but I kept my breathing slow and even. The pain medication actually helped. My body was, relaxed, even though my mind was screaming. Michael. She was talking to Michael, my business partner, my best friend. "Yes, I'm sure," Jennifer said, her voice dropping even lower. "Harrison said 6 months maximum, probably less. The cancer is spreading. And Tom is so doped up on pain meds half the time he has no idea what's going on." She laughed, a soft, cruel laugh that I had never heard from her before. "I know, baby. I know it's been hard, but it's almost over. 6 months and then we can be together. We can sell this house, sell the business, take the money and go anywhere we want. Start over, just the two of us." There was a pause while Michael said something on the other end. "Yes," Jennifer said. "I love you too. I have to go. He might wake up. I'll call you tomorrow." I heard the soft sound of her footsteps moving away from the bedroom door, going back downstairs. I lay there in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. $3 million in life insurance. I didn't even know it had been increased. When had Jennifer done that? 2 years ago, she said. 2 years before my cancer diagnosis. Had she been planning this that long? Or had it just been convenient when I got sick? The house was worth $1.2 million. We had bought it 20 years ago for $300,000. The Phoenix real estate market had been good to us. My pension would pay out $200,000 as a death benefit to my surviving spouse and the business. Michael and I had a buy-sell agreement. If one partner died, the other had the option to buy out the deceased partner's share at market value. The business was worth about $800,000. Michael would get it all for $400,000, except he wouldn't have to pay even that, because he and Jennifer would own everything together. My business, my house, my life insurance, my pension, everything I had worked for over 68 years, over 45 years as a cop, everything I had built and saved and invested. They were going to take it all, and they were just waiting for me to die. I got out of bed slowly, carefully, making sure my footsteps were quiet. The pain medication made me a little unsteady, but years of moving through crime scenes had taught me how to be silent. I went to my study and closed the door. Then I turned on my desk lamp and sat down. My hands were shaking, not from the cancer, not from the medication, from rage, pure, cold, focused rage, the kind of rage that had made me a good detective, the kind that helped me solve cases other cops gave up on, because I never gave up. Never. And I wasn't going to give up now. I pulled out a legal pad and started writing. Everything Jennifer had said, every word I could remember, the date, the time, the facts, the way I'd been trained to document evidence for 45 years. Then I started thinking, planning. And because if there was one thing I knew how to do, it was build a case. And I was about to build the most important case of my life, the case against my wife and my best friend, the case that would make sure they never got a penny of what they were waiting for me to die to collect. I wasn't dead yet, and before I died, I was going to make sure they paid for what they had done. The next morning, I acted completely normal. I came downstairs slowly, holding onto the railing, moving like a man who was weak and dying. Jennifer was making breakfast. She smiled at me, came over and kissed my cheek. "How are you feeling this morning, honey?" she asked, her voice full of concern. "Tired," I said. "The medication makes everything foggy." She nodded sympathetically. "I know, baby. But it's helping with the pain, right?" I nodded. Sat down at the kitchen table. Let her serve me scrambled eggs and toast that I could barely taste. Let her fuss over me, making sure I took my morning pills. All the while, I was watching her, really watching her, seeing things I had missed before. The way she checked her phone constantly, the way her eyes would light up when a text came through, then go carefully blank when she saw me looking. The way she seemed distracted, her mind somewhere else even when she was talking to me. After breakfast, I told her I was going to rest in my study for a while. She helped me to my feet, her hand on my arm, guiding me like I was an invalid. I let her. I went to my study and closed the door. Then I got to work. First, I needed to verify what I had heard. I needed evidence. In my desk drawer, I had an old digital voice recorder that I used to use for interviews when I was on the force. I checked the battery. Still good. I turned it on and tested it. Clear audio. Perfect. That night, I pretended to take my pain medication at 9 o'clock. I palmed the pills and tucked them under my mattress. Then, I lay in bed, breathing deeply and evenly, pretending to sleep. Around 11, Jennifer came upstairs. She stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching me. I could feel her eyes on me, but I kept perfectly still. Then she closed the door, quietly, and went back downstairs. I waited. At 1:30 in the morning, I heard her voice again. Quiet. In the hallway outside our bedroom, I'd placed the voice recorder on the nightstand, positioned to catch sound from the doorway. She was on the phone again. "Michael," she said, "he's asleep. The medication knocks him out for hours." There was a pause. "No, the doctor said it's getting worse. The chemo isn't working. He's losing weight, getting weaker every day." Another pause. "I know, baby. I know it's so hard watching him fade away, but Harrison said it won't be much longer, maybe 8 weeks now. The tumors are growing." I clenched my fists under the blanket but kept my breathing steady. 8 weeks. They had refined their timeline. "I miss you," Jennifer said, her voice softening. "I wish you were here right now. I wish I could be with you instead of playing nurse to a dying old man." The words hit me like a physical blow. A dying old man. That's what I was to her. Not her husband of 35 years, not the man who had worked 2 jobs to put her through graduate school, not the father of our daughter, not the man who had loved her, supported her, built a life with her. Just a dying old man who was taking too long to get out of the way. "Tomorrow," she said. "Yes, I can meet you for lunch. Tom has a doctor's appointment in the morning. I'll drop him off and we can have a couple hours together." She laughed softly. "I love you too. Good night." I waited until I heard her footsteps on the stairs, waited until I heard our bedroom door open and close, waited until I heard the soft sound of her getting into bed beside me. Then I waited another hour to make sure she was asleep. At 3:30 in the morning, I carefully got out of bed, retrieved the voice recorder from the nightstand, went to my study, and listened to the recording. It was all there, every word, clear and incriminating. I saved the file and backed it up to my computer. Then I labeled it. Date, time, contents, the way I'd been trained to log evidence, that was recording number 1. Over the next 2 weeks, I made 5 more recordings. Each one gave me more information, more evidence. Jennifer and Michael talked almost every night. They discussed the timeline of my death, the funeral arrangements they had already started planning, the trip to Italy they were going to take after everything was settled, the house they wanted to buy in Scottsdale, the life they were going to build together on my money. And in one recording, they discussed something that made my blood run cold. "Do you think we should help it along?" Jennifer asked one night. Her voice was casual, like she was asking whether they should paint the living room. Michael's response was cautious. "What do you mean?" "The medication," Jennifer said. "He takes so much oxycodone. It would be easy to give him a little extra. No one would question it. He's in so much pain already. Everyone knows that." There was a long pause. "I don't know," Michael said finally. "That seems risky." "What if someone ordered an autopsy?" Jennifer laughed. "Why would they? He has terminal cancer. The doctors have given him weeks to live. If he dies from what looks like an accidental overdose, everyone will just assume he was in too much pain and took too many pills, or that I gave him too many by mistake. No one is going to investigate the death of a 68-year-old man with stage 4 pancreatic cancer." She was right. That was the horrible thing. She was absolutely right. If I died from an overdose right now, no one would question it. The doctors would sign a death certificate listing the cancer. There would be no autopsy, no investigation. Jennifer would collect the life insurance. She and Michael would sell the house and the business, and they would ride off into the sunset with everything I had worked for. Unless I stopped them. I had enough evidence now. Recordings of Jennifer and Michael discussing my impending death, discussing the money they would get, discussing possibly speeding up my death with an overdose. But I needed more than just recordings. I needed documentary evidence. I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. So I did what any good detective does. I followed the money. I started with the life insurance policy. I had been with the same insurance company for 30 years. MetLife. I called them from my study one morning while Jennifer was out shopping. I identified myself and asked for a copy of my current policy documents to be mailed to me. They arrived 3 days later. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. There it was. Jennifer had increased my life insurance from $500,000 to $3 million 24 months ago, 2 years before my cancer diagnosis. The policy had a standard 2-year contestability period. If I died within 2 years of the increase, the insurance company could investigate for fraud. But I was past that now. If I died tomorrow, they would pay out the full $3 million, no questions asked. I looked at the signature on the application. It was mine, or it looked like mine. But I didn't remember signing it. I got out samples of my real signature from various documents in my files, tax returns, bank statements, legal papers. Then I got out a magnifying glass. Under magnification, I could see the differences. The forged signature on the insurance application was close, but not perfect. The pressure was different. The flow of certain letters was off. Jennifer had forged my signature. She had increased my life insurance to $3 million, forged my signature on the application, and I had never known. Because I trusted her. Because in 35 years of marriage, I had never had a reason not to trust her. Next, I checked our bank accounts. We had joint accounts, so I had access to everything. I started going through statements from the past 2 years, looking for patterns, looking for anything unusual. And I found it. Small withdrawals, $500 here, $700 there, never more than $1,000 at a time, nothing that would raise red flags. But over 2 years, Jennifer had withdrawn almost $40,000 from our joint savings account. Where had that money gone? I kept digging. In her desk in our home office, I found a credit card statement. The card was in her name only. I hadn't known she had a separate card. The charges were interesting. Hotel rooms, restaurants, jewelry stores, lingerie, all purchases made over the past 18 months. All charged to a card I didn't know existed. All paid off every month with cash. Cash that came from our joint savings account. The dates of the hotel charges were illuminating. They matched up with days when Jennifer said she was visiting her sister in Tucson, or having lunch with friends, or going to a yoga class. She had been meeting Michael. For 18 months, maybe longer, they had been having an affair right under my nose, and I had been too blind to see it, or maybe I hadn't wanted to see it, because the alternative was too painful. I made copies of everything, the insurance policy with the forged signature, the bank statements showing the withdrawals, the credit card statements. I put the originals back exactly where I found them. Then, I stored the copies in a locked file box in my study. But I still needed more. I needed to understand the full scope of what they were planning. So I did something I had done hundreds of times as a detective. I conducted surveillance. I stopped taking my pain medication during the day. The pain was bad. Worse than Jennifer knew, but I needed to be alert. Sharp. I only took the pills at night, and I started taking smaller doses so I could stay partially conscious. During the day, when Jennifer thought I was resting in my study, I was actually watching and listening. I installed a small camera in the living room, hidden in a bookshelf, pointing at the couch where Jennifer liked to sit when she made phone calls. I bought a GPS tracker and attached it to the underframe of her car. I started monitoring her movements, and what I discovered was damning. 3 times a week, Jennifer was meeting Michael, not at hotels anymore. That was too risky now that I was close to dying. Instead, they met at Michael's house. He lived alone, divorced for 5 years. Jennifer would tell me she was going to the grocery store or running errands. Then she would drive straight to Michael's house and stay for 2 to 3 hours. The camera in the living room captured her on phone calls, making plans, discussing the funeral, laughing. She was laughing. While I was supposedly dying upstairs, she was downstairs laughing with her lover about the life they would have after I was dead. One afternoon, I heard her on the phone with a real estate agent. "Yes," she said. "We'll be selling in probably 8 to 10 weeks. My husband is terminally ill. I'll be the sole inheritor of the property. We'd like to list it as soon as possible after the estate is settled." She gave the agent a tour of the house while I listened from my study, pointing out features, discussing price points, planning the sale of our home before I was even dead. That night, I confronted my own mortality in a way I hadn't before. I wasn't just dying from cancer, I was being erased. My wife was planning my funeral, selling my house, spending my money, and moving on with my best friend. All while I was still alive, all while I was still fighting. I made a decision that night. They wanted me to die. I would die, but not before I made sure they got nothing, not before I destroyed them the way they were trying to destroy me. I had worked for 45 years as a detective. I knew how the legal system worked. I knew how to build an airtight case. I knew how to make sure justice was served, and I was about to use every bit of that knowledge to make sure Jennifer and Michael paid for what they had done. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Not the family lawyer Jennifer and I had used for years. A different lawyer, someone Jennifer didn't know. His name was David Rothstein. He had been a prosecutor when I was on the force. We had worked dozens of cases together. He was smart, aggressive, and ruthless when he needed to be. "David," I said when he answered his private line, "it's Tom Parker. I need to hire you." Something in my voice must have told him this was serious. "Tom," he said, "good to hear from you. I heard about the cancer. I'm so sorry. How are you holding up?" "Not well," I said, "but that's not why I'm calling. I need you to represent me in a matter involving my wife and my business partner. And David, this is completely confidential. Jennifer can't know I've spoken to you." There was a brief pause. "Okay," David said. His voice had shifted into lawyer mode, professional, focused. "Tell me what's going on." I told him everything. The overheard phone calls, the recordings, the forged insurance policy, the affair, the planning, the discussion of possibly helping my death along with an overdose. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Jesus, Tom," David said finally. "That's attempted murder or conspiracy to commit murder at minimum. You need to go to the police." "No," I said, "not yet. I'm dying, David. I have maybe 6 weeks left. I don't want to spend what's left of my life in police stations and courtrooms. I want to make sure that when I die, Jennifer and Michael don't get a penny. And I want to make sure they pay for what they've done. Can you help me with that?" David was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Yes, I can help you with that. What do you need me to do?" "First," I said, "I need you to review the evidence I have. Make sure it's solid. Make sure it will hold up. Second, I need to change my will immediately. Everything I have needs to go somewhere other than Jennifer. Third, I need to make sure the life insurance company knows about the fraud. I want that policy voided. And fourth," I said, my voice going cold, "I want to file for divorce. Even if I die before it's finalized, I want it on record that I knew what she was doing." David let out a low whistle. "That's going to be complicated, Tom. Arizona is a community property state. Even if you file for divorce, she's entitled to half of everything acquired during the marriage." "I know," I said, "but I don't care about that. I just want to make sure she doesn't get the life insurance. I want to make sure the house goes to my daughter, not to her. And I want her to know before I die that I knew what she and Michael were planning. I want her to face me and know that her plan failed. Can you do that?" "Yes," David said, "I can do that." "When do you want to start?" "Today," I said. "Right now." "Good," David said. "I'll have papers drawn up by this afternoon. Can you come to my office tomorrow?" "I'll be there," I said. Next day, Jennifer drove me to what she thought was a doctor's appointment. Instead, I had her drop me at a medical building 2 blocks away from David's office. "I'll call you when I'm done," I told her. "It might be a couple of hours. They're running some tests." She kissed my cheek. "Take your time, honey. I'll do some shopping and keep my phone on." I watched her drive away. Then I walked the 2 blocks to David's office. It took me 20 minutes. The cancer and the pain made everything harder, but I made it. David was waiting for me. He had a conference room set up with documents spread across the table. "Okay, Tom," he said, helping me into a chair. "I've reviewed the recordings you emailed me last night. They're damning. Clear evidence of conspiracy, fraud, and discussion of potential murder. I've also reviewed the insurance policy documents you sent. That's definitely a forged signature. I could see it even without an expert, but we'll have a handwriting analyst confirm it for the court." He slid a stack of papers across to me. "These are divorce papers. Arizona allows divorce on the grounds of adultery, and you have clear evidence of the affair. Even though Arizona is a no-fault state, the adultery and the fraud will factor into the property division. The court won't look kindly on Jennifer's behavior. This," he said, sliding another document over, "is a new will. It leaves everything to your daughter, Emily. The house, your share of the business, your personal assets, your pension death benefit, everything. Jennifer gets nothing. And this," he slid a third document, "is a letter to MetLife detailing the insurance fraud. Once they receive this, they'll void the policy. They might even pursue criminal charges against Jennifer for fraud." I looked at the papers. My hands were shaking. not from the cancer, from the enormity of what I was about to do. This will destroy her, I said. David looked at me steadily. Tom, she was planning to murder you. Or at minimum, she was planning to let you die while stealing everything you own. She doesn't deserve your protection. I know, I said. You're right. Where do I sign? I signed everything. The divorce papers, the new will, the letter to the insurance company. David notarized each document. Then he made copies of everything. Okay, David said, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to serve Jennifer with divorce papers tomorrow morning. I'm going to send the letter to MetLife today by certified mail. I'm going to file your new will with the probate court, and I'm going to compile all of your evidence, recordings, documents, everything into a package for the police. When you're ready, we'll turn it over to them and they can decide whether to pursue criminal charges. But Tom, he said, his voice gentle, you need to be prepared for what happens when Jennifer finds out. She's going to be angry, possibly dangerous. You need to be somewhere safe. I have that covered, I said. I'm moving out today. Moving out? David raised an eyebrow. Where are you going? To my daughter's house, I said. Emily doesn't know what's happening yet. But I'm going to tell her today. I'm going to tell her everything. David nodded slowly. That's probably wise. Do you need help moving? Just a few things, I said. My clothes, my files, my medications. I can manage. David stood up and came around the desk. He put his hand on my shoulder. Tom, I'm sorry this is happening to you. You're a good man. You don't deserve this. No one does, I said. But it's happening, and I'm going to make sure they don't get away with it. I called Emily from David's office, my daughter, 40 years old, married with 2 kids. She lived 20 minutes away in Tempe. We had always been close, even after she grew up and started her own family. She knew about the cancer. She had been devastated by the news. She came to visit twice a week, bringing the grandkids to see me. But she didn't know about Jennifer and Michael. She didn't know about the plan to murder me and steal everything. I was about to tell her. Emily, I said when she answered, it's Dad. I need to talk to you about something important. Can I come over? Of course, she said. I could hear the worry in her voice. Dad, are you okay? Is it the cancer? Is it getting worse? No, I said. Well, yes, the cancer is getting worse, but that's not why I'm calling. Emily, I need to tell you something about your mother, and I need a place to stay for a while. Stay? Dad, what's going on? I'll explain when I see you, I said. Can you pick me up? I'm at an office building downtown, David Rothstein's office. The lawyer? Yes. I'll text you the address. Can you come now? I'll be there in 20 minutes, Emily said. I could hear her grabbing her keys. Dad, you're scaring me. I know, honey. I'm sorry. I'll explain everything when you get here. I'm okay. I promise. Just come get me. She was there in 15 minutes. I saw her car pull up outside David's building. I said goodbye to David, picked up the folder with copies of all the documents, and made my way slowly to the elevator. Emily met me at the lobby. She looked terrified. Dad, she said, taking my arm. What's happening? Why are you here? Where's Mom? In the car, I said. Please, Emily, let's go to your house. I'll explain everything there. The drive to Emily's house was silent. She kept glancing at me, clearly wanting to ask questions but holding back. I looked out the window at the Phoenix streets, the city I had served for 45 years, the city where I had raised my daughter, built my career, built my life. Everything was about to change. When we got to Emily's house, she helped me inside. Her husband, Mark, was at work. The kids were at school. We had the house to ourselves. Emily made me sit down on the couch and brought me water. Then she sat across from me, her hands clasped tightly together. Okay, Dad, tell me what's going on. I took a breath. Then I told her. Everything. The phone call I overheard, the recordings, the affair with Michael, the forged life insurance policy, the planning, the discussion of possibly overdosing me to speed things along. Emily's face went white, then red, then white again. She stood up, sat down, stood up again. No, she said. No, that's not possible. Mom wouldn't. She couldn't. Not Mom, not Michael, not after all these years. Emily, I have recordings, I said gently. I have evidence. I've been documenting everything for 2 weeks. David Rothstein has seen it all. It's real, honey. Your mother and Michael have been having an affair for at least 18 months, and they're planning to take everything after I die." Emily started crying. Not the gentle tears of sadness, but the harsh, angry sobs of someone whose world has just shattered. She sat on the floor and put her face in her hands. "How could she?" Emily said through her sobs. "How could she do this to you? To us? You're dying. You're dying and she's planning to rob you. What kind of person does that?" I got down on the floor next to her, my joints protesting, my body weak. I put my arms around my daughter and held her while she cried. "I'm so sorry, honey," I said. "Didn't want to tell you like this, but I need your help. I need somewhere to stay while I go through with the divorce. I can't stay in that house with her anymore." "You can stay here," Emily said immediately, wiping her eyes. "As long as you need. Forever. Dad, we'll take care of you." She looked at me. "Does she know? Does Mom know that you know?" "Not yet," I said. "David is serving her with divorce papers tomorrow morning. That's when she'll find out." "Oh God," Emily said. "She's going to lose her mind." "I know," I said. "That's why I needed to get out of the house today. Before she finds out." Emily helped me to my feet. "We need to go get your stuff, your clothes, your medications, everything. Right now, before Mom gets home." So we did. Emily drove me back to the house. Jennifer's car wasn't there. She was still out, probably at Michael's house. We went inside and I packed quickly. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, my files, the locked box with all my evidence, my medications. Emily moved through the house like a woman in shock, helping me carry things to her car. She kept stopping to look at family photos on the walls, pictures of her childhood, pictures of Jennifer and me on our wedding day, pictures of family vacations. "I'm so sorry," I said again. "I know this is devastating. I loved her too." Emily turned to me, her eyes red. "Dad," she said, "I loved her because she was my mother. But you loved her for 35 years. You built a life with her, and she did this to you. If I could take this pain away from you, I would, but I can't. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she pays for what she's done." "That's my girl," I said. We finished packing and left. I wrote a note for Jennifer and left it on the kitchen table. Simple, direct. "Jennifer, I've moved out. You'll be served with divorce papers tomorrow morning. I know about you and Michael. I know about everything. Tom." That was it. No explanations, no accusations, just the facts. Cold and clear. Let her spend the night wondering how much I knew. Let her panic. Let her try to call Michael and figure out what to do. I didn't care. I was done. That night, at Emily's house, I slept better than I had in weeks. The pain was still there. The cancer was still killing me. But for the first time since the diagnosis, I felt like I had some control, like I was fighting back instead of just waiting to die. The next morning, David called me at 7:30. "Tom," he said, "the process server just delivered the divorce papers to your house." Jennifer answered the door. "She's been served." "How did she react?" I asked. According to the process server, she went white, then slammed the door in his face. He could hear her screaming from the driveway. "Good," I said. "Let her scream." An hour later, my phone started ringing. Jennifer. I didn't answer. She called 6 more times, left voicemail messages. "Tom, please," the first message said. Her voice was shaking. "Tom, I don't understand. Why are you doing this? What's happening? Please call me back." The second message was angry. "This is insane, Tom. You can't just leave. You can't just file for divorce while you're sick. This is cruel. What about our marriage? What about everything we've been through?" The third message was desperate. "Please, Tom, let me explain. It's not what you think. Please just talk to me. I didn't listen to the rest. I deleted them all." Then I blocked her number. She tried calling Emily. Emily answered the first call. "Mom," she said, her voice cold, "Dad is staying with me. And yes, we know everything, everything. Michael, the affair, the life insurance fraud, the planning. We have evidence, recordings, documents. You need to call a lawyer, Mom, because Dad has one, and his is better than you can afford." She hung up. Jennifer tried calling back twice more. Emily didn't answer. That afternoon, Michael called me. I answered. I wanted to hear his voice, wanted to hear what he would say. "Tom," Michael said. His voice was carefully neutral. "I heard about the divorce papers. I'm sorry, man. I know you're going through a lot right now with the cancer. Is there anything I can do?" "You can rot in hell," I said. My voice was calm, cold. "You and Jennifer both." Michael was silent for a long moment. "I don't know what Jennifer told you," he said finally, "but whatever it is, you've got it wrong. I'm your friend, Tom. I've been your friend for 30 years. "Really?" I said. "Is that why you've been sleeping with my wife for the past 18 months? Is that why you've been planning how to spend my life insurance money after I die? Is that why you discussed helping my death along with an overdose?" Another long silence. Then Michael's voice changed. Harder. "You've been recording us?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm a detective, Michael. I've been a detective for 45 years. What did you think would happen? Did you really think I was so doped up on pain medication that I wouldn't notice, that I wouldn't figure it out?" "We didn't do anything wrong," Michael said, but his voice lacked conviction. "You're dying, Tom. You're going to be dead in a few weeks. Jennifer and I, we just found comfort in each other. We weren't trying to hurt you." "Comfort?" I said. "You call $3 million in life insurance comfort? You call discussing giving me an overdose comfort? You call planning my funeral before I'm dead comfort?" "Michael, you're a cop. You know what this is. It's conspiracy to commit murder. It's insurance fraud. It's theft. And when I turn these recordings over to the police, you're going to prison." "You can't prove any of that," Michael said, but I could hear panic creeping into his voice. "Actually, I can," I said. "I have 6 recordings. I have bank records. I have a forged insurance policy. I have GPS tracking showing Jennifer's car at your house 3 times a week. I have hotel receipts, credit card statements. I have everything, Michael. And David Rothstein is compiling it all into a criminal complaint right now. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to lose your half of our business because I'm leaving it to my daughter in my will. Jennifer is going to lose everything because the divorce will be final before I die. The life insurance company is voiding the policy because of the fraud. And both of you are probably going to be charged with conspiracy to commit murder. You're not getting anything, not a penny. And if I live long enough to see it, I'm going to watch you both go to prison." I hung up. Over the next week, things moved fast. MetLife received David's letter and immediately opened a fraud investigation. They sent investigators to interview me. I played them the recordings, showed them the forged signature on the insurance policy. They were very interested, very concerned. They assured me the policy would be voided and that they would be referring the matter to law enforcement for criminal prosecution. The divorce moved forward. Jennifer hired a lawyer, a nasty one, the kind who specializes in taking husbands to the cleaners. But David was nastier. He filed motions. He submitted the recordings as evidence of adultery and fraud. He made it clear that if Jennifer wanted to fight, we would fight, and we would win, because we had evidence, clear, incontrovertible evidence. Jennifer's lawyer tried to negotiate, tried to get a settlement, tried to argue that Jennifer should get at least half of the marital assets. David shut them down every time. "Your client," he said in one meeting that I listened to by phone, "committed fraud and adultery. She forged her husband's signature on a life insurance policy. She conducted an affair with his business partner. She discussed murdering him. The court is not going to be sympathetic. Take the deal we're offering or take your chances in court." The deal was simple. Jennifer would get nothing. The house would go to Emily. My share of the business would go to Emily. My pension death benefit would go to Emily. Jennifer could keep her car and her personal belongings. That was it. Her lawyer advised her to take it. What choice did she have? If she fought, we would introduce the recordings in court, the fraud, the affair, the discussion of murder. She would be destroyed and possibly prosecuted. She signed the settlement agreement 3 weeks after I moved out. The divorce would be final in 60 days. Arizona law. The Phoenix Police Department opened an investigation into the conspiracy. They interviewed me. They listened to the recordings. They brought in Michael and Jennifer for questioning. Both of them lawyered up immediately and refused to talk. But it didn't matter. The recordings were enough. The district attorney's office reviewed the case and decided to file charges. Jennifer was charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy to commit theft. Michael was charged with conspiracy to commit theft and being an accessory to fraud, not murder charges. The DA said the recordings were suggestive but not conclusive enough to prove conspiracy to commit murder. But the fraud charges were solid. If convicted, they were both looking at 2 to 5 years in prison. The trial was set for 6 months out. I knew I wouldn't live to see it. The cancer was winning. Despite the chemotherapy, despite everything, the tumors were growing. I was getting weaker every day. Dr. Harrison told me in early October that I probably had 4 to 6 weeks left, maybe less. I asked him to be honest, to tell me what the end would look like. He was gentle but direct. The cancer would continue to spread. The pain would get worse. Eventually, my liver would fail. I would slip into a coma, and then I would die. Probably in hospice, probably with my family around me. How long from the coma to death? I asked. Usually 24 to 48 hours, Harrison said. Is that how you want to handle it, Tom? Hospice care? Or do you want to fight to the very end? I've been fighting my whole life, I said. But I know when a case is lost. Hospice is fine. I just want to make sure I live long enough to see the divorce finalized. Harrison nodded. The divorce is in 3 weeks, right? Yes. Then that's our goal, he said. We'll manage your pain, keep you comfortable, get you to that finish line. Thank you, I said. The next 3 weeks were the hardest of my life. The pain got worse despite the medication. I could barely eat. I lost more weight. My body was shutting down, but I was determined. I was going to live long enough to see that divorce finalized, to know that Jennifer got nothing. Emily took care of me. She and Mark converted their guest room into a hospice room. They hired a nurse to help with my care. My grandkids, 9 and 7 years old, came to visit me every day. They were scared. I could see it in their eyes, but they were brave. They would sit with me, read to me, tell me about school. They reminded me why I had fought so hard. Family, real family. The kind that doesn't betray you, the kind that stays even when things get hard. Jennifer tried to visit once. Emily turned her away. At the door. She tried calling. We didn't answer. She sent letters. I burned them without reading them. She had nothing to say that I wanted to hear. Michael called once more. To apologize, he said. To explain. I hung up after 5 seconds. On November 15th, 60 days after the divorce papers were filed, the divorce was finalized. David brought the final decree to Emily's house. He sat next to my bed and showed me the document. Official seal, judge's signature, everything legal and binding. It's done, Tom, he said. You're divorced. The house goes to Emily. Your business share goes to Emily. Your pension goes to Emily. Jennifer gets nothing. The life insurance policy has been voided, and the criminal charges are moving forward. You did it. I looked at the document. Tears filled my eyes, not tears of sadness, tears of relief. Thank you, David, I said. My voice was barely a whisper now. Thank you for everything. You're a good man, Tom, David said. You deserved better than what Jennifer and Michael did to you, but you fought back. You made sure justice was served. That's all any of us can do. He stayed for a while. We talked about old cases, old times. When he left, he shook my hand. It was the handshake of 2 men who had fought battles together and won. The next week, my body started shutting down. The pain got so bad that the hospice nurses had to increase my medication to levels that kept me mostly unconscious. I drifted in and out. Sometimes I was aware, sometimes I wasn't. Emily was always there, holding my hand, talking to me, even when I couldn't respond. On November 22nd, 1 week after the divorce was finalized, I woke up around 3 in the morning. The room was dark except for a small lamp in the corner. Emily was asleep in a chair next to my bed. I looked at her. My daughter. My beautiful, strong, loyal daughter. She had stood by me. She had fought for me. She had made sure justice was served. I felt a deep sense of peace. The cancer had taken my body, but it hadn't taken my dignity. It hadn't taken my legacy. I had made sure of that. Jennifer and Michael had tried to steal everything from me, but they had failed. Because I had fought back. Because I had used everything I learned in 45 years as a detective to build a case against them, to expose them, to make sure they got nothing. I had won. Not the way anyone wants to win, not by living, but by making sure that even in death, I controlled my own destiny. I had protected my daughter, I had protected my legacy, and I had made sure the people who betrayed me paid the price. That was enough. Emily woke up around 6. She saw me looking at her and smiled. "Hi, Dad," she said. "How are you feeling?" "Tired," I whispered, "but good." "Emily, I need to tell you something." "What is it?" she asked, leaning close. "I'm proud of you," I said. "You're strong. You're loyal. You're everything a father could hope for. Take care of your family. Live a good life. And know that everything I did to protect you." "Dad," Emily said, tears streaming down her face. "Don't talk like that. You're going to be okay." "No, honey," I said. "I'm not. And that's okay. I've had a good life, a long life. I fought the good fight, and I won the last battle that mattered. I love you, Emily." "I love you too, Dad," she said, holding my hand tightly. I closed my eyes. The pain was gone now, or maybe I was just too far gone to feel it anymore. I thought about my life. 45 years as a cop, 35 years married, 40 years as a father, 68 years of living. I had seen the best and worst of humanity. I had solved murders, I had put criminals in prison, I had built a business, I had raised a daughter, I had loved and been betrayed, but in the end, I had made sure that justice was served, even against the people who should have loved me most. That was my legacy. Not the house or the money or the business, but the knowledge that I never gave up, that I fought to the very end, that I protected what mattered. I slipped into unconsciousness around noon. According to Emily, I never woke up again. I died 2 days later, on November 24th, quietly, peacefully, surrounded by family, the real family, the ones who stayed. The funeral was small. Emily planned everything: my daughter, my grandkids, a few old friends from the force. David Rothstein was there. Dr. Harrison came. It was simple, dignified, the way I wanted it. Jennifer tried to come. Emily had security turn her away at the door of the funeral home. "This is not for you," Emily told her. "You lost the right to grieve for him when you betrayed him." Michael didn't even try. He knew better. After the funeral, Emily told me later she found a letter I had written. I'd left it with David to give to her after I died. In the letter, I told her how proud I was of her, how much I loved her, how grateful I was that she stood by me in the end. I told her to use the money from the house and the business to take care of her family, to give her kids opportunities, to live well. I told her not to hate her mother. Hate, I wrote, is a poison that hurts the person who carries it more than the person it's aimed at. Jennifer made her choices. She'll have to live with the consequences. But you don't have to carry that burden. Live your life. Be happy. That's the best revenge of all. The criminal trial against Jennifer and Michael took place 8 months after I died. Emily attended every day. She told me later what happened. The prosecution played the recordings I had made. They showed the forged insurance documents. They brought in handwriting experts who confirmed the signature was fake. They showed the bank records, the credit card statements, the GPS tracking, everything I had gathered in those final weeks of my life. Jennifer's lawyer tried to argue that the recordings were taken without consent, that they weren't admissible. But Arizona is a one-party consent state. As long as one person in the Chudidar conversation knows about the recording, it's legal. And I was that one person. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. They found Jennifer guilty on all counts: insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit theft, attempted fraud. The judge sentenced her to 3 years in prison. Michael got 2 years for his role as an accomplice. Emily told me that Jennifer cried when the sentence was read, that she tried to apologize, to explain. But it was too late. Too late for apologies, too late for explanations. The damage was done. The life insurance company, MetLife, filed a civil suit against Jennifer to recover the premiums that had been paid on the fraudulent policy. They won. Jennifer had to pay back over $60,000 in premiums plus legal fees. Between the criminal conviction, the civil judgment, and the divorce, Jennifer was left with nothing. No house, no money, no freedom, just a prison sentence and a criminal record. Michael lost his private investigator's license, lost his business, lost his reputation. When he got out of prison, he moved to another state, started over with nothing. Emily used the money from selling the house to pay off her mortgage and put money away for her kids' college funds. She sold my share of the business to Michael's replacement partner for a fair price. She set up a scholarship fund in my name at the Phoenix Police Academy for cadets who demonstrated integrity and dedication to justice. Everything I had worked for went to the people who deserved it. My daughter, my grandkids, the next generation, not to the people who betrayed me. That was justice. Real justice, not revenge, just consequences, just the natural result of choices made and actions taken. Now, years later, Emily still tells the story, not as a tragedy, but as a lesson. Her father, she says, was a detective until the very end. Even when he was dying, even when he had every reason to give up, he fought for what was right. He built a case. He gathered evidence. He made sure the truth came out, and he protected his family. That's what mattered most to him, Emily tells her kids. Not the money, not the house, not even the satisfaction of seeing Jennifer and Michael punished. It was knowing that he had done everything in his power to make sure his family was protected, that they were taken care of, that they knew he loved them. Even in his final days, Emily says, even when the cancer was killing him, he was still the detective, still fighting for justice, still protecting the people he loved. That's the kind of man he was. That's the legacy he left. I wish I could have told Emily all of this myself, but I was gone before the trial, before the sentencing, before Jennifer went to prison. But I knew. Somehow, I knew it would work out, because I had built the case carefully, methodically, the way I had been trained to build cases for 45 years. And I knew that the truth, when properly documented and presented, always wins in the end. If you're watching this video, I want you to know something. If you're in a situation where someone is betraying you, using you, planning to harm you, you have power, you have options. Document everything, gather evidence. Don't confront them until you're ready. Don't tip them off. Build your case the way a detective builds a case, methodically, carefully, with evidence that can't be disputed. And then, when you're ready, strike. File the paperwork, make the calls, expose the truth, but do it legally, do it right. Because revenge that breaks the law just makes you a criminal too. Justice, real justice, comes from using the system, from building a case so strong that the guilty have no choice but to face consequences. That's what I did. And even though I didn't live to see the end, I died knowing that I had won, that Jennifer and Michael would face justice, that my daughter would be protected, that my legacy would be one of integrity and strength, not of being a victim who let himself be destroyed. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you know. And if you're facing betrayal, if someone is trying to take advantage of you, remember this: don't give up. Don't let them win. Fight back with truth, with evidence, with the law. And you will win. Maybe not immediately, maybe not the way you expect. But justice, real justice, always comes for those who are patient and thorough. Thank you for watching my story. I hope it gives you courage. I hope it reminds you that even in your darkest moments, you have power, you have options, you have the ability to fight back and win. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. I want to know how far this message can travel. God bless you all. And remember, the truth always wins in the end. Always. Until next time, keep fighting the good fight.